Hi, this is Zibby Owens, and you're listening to the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I'm also the host of Moms Don't Have Time to Lose Weight, and I'm the editor of the anthology, which you should run out and buy, called Moms Don't Have Time to, a quarantine anthology. All proceeds of that book go to COVID-19 vaccine research. And I'm the editor-in-chief of Moms Don't Have Time to Write, a new publication on Medium, and we're accepting submissions, so please send your personal essays there. And if all that isn't enough, you can follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens, and my website is zibbyowens.com. Okay, now back to this amazing podcast. Patric Richardson is the author of Laundry Love, Finding Joy in a Common Chore. Patric is a fashion pro, textile expert, and Kentucky native who owns the Mona Williams Boutique at Mall of America, where he holds laundry camp for all those interested in learning his fun and easy laundry lessons. Previously, he worked at Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom, and other great department stores. He lives with his partner in St. Paul, Minnesota, his other beloved state. Welcome, Patric. Thanks for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This is going to be super fun.
Oh, I hope so. I'm excited. Tell everybody, please, about your book, Laundry Love, and your really unique and awesome career and how you've encapsulated all of it in this fantastic book.
So the book Laundry Love is, I believe that you can wash everything you own and that nothing has to go to the dry cleaner. So the book tells you how to do that. It takes you from like sorting your clothes to washing them to removing stains. And then along the way, it's also a love letter to these women in my life who were very pivotal. And the book actually started with the idea of the women, and also my love of laundry. My granny dude, who was very influential and very important in my life, and my mother, my stepmother, and just these other women. And kind of how I grew up. I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. And the book actually starts with some early laundry memories that I have, and then it takes you through. So when you're done reading the book, I hope that you learn to love Eastern Kentucky and the Appalachians as much as I do. I hope that you wash all of your clothes and you don't send anything to the dry cleaner. And I hope that you confidently wear everything you own because, I think that's part of the fun of having great clothes. And so many people have these beautiful things and they're afraid to wear them because they're afraid they'll get a stain on them. So, I believe that you wear it all. And once you read the book, you confidently will, throw on like your very best jacket to go to the grocery store.
Well, I love how you interwove some of the memoir stuff about your family and even those recipes in the back. And there was one for like a sour cream cake that I might have to just try this weekend. But the advice you give is like, so great. I do so much laundry. And so I think about this a lot. And there's all this time where you really can't do too much else while you're doing the laundry. And you had some tips that are easy to change, like for my next load of laundry, and then some that are more of an investment in the products that I should get, or we all should get, but I'll just take it for me. So the first thing you said that I can do really easily, for instance, is always do an express wash and always wash on warm, right? And that those two things can change right away.
Yeah, it's a game changer because I believe that a family of 5 can do all of their laundry in 4.5 hours. And one of the ways you do that is go to the express cycle. And, the reason the express cycle works is actually the warm water, because the warm water boosts the cleaning power of whatever you're using so that you can shorten the cycle. So that's the beauty of it. You speed up the time and then you can just go to this quick cycle. And if you're a mom, then you have other things to do. You don't want to these 2-hour cycles are ridiculous. They're hard on your clothes, first of all, because you're just beating them to death. And then also, who has 2 hours? If I'm going to spend 2 hours, I want to read or needlepoint. I don't want to, watch the washing machine. And I love to watch the washing machine.
I love that you got that as a present when you were 3. I didn't even know they made toy little washing machines. That's pretty awesome.
Totally. And it's funny. I did. And I was so excited to get it. And it's funny because, and now I'm scouring eBay trying to find another one because, I kind of need to recapture that.
Totally. That somebody has to start producing that toy again. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do at least 2 to 4 loads of laundry every day, particularly on the weekends, because I have 4 kids and my husband and me and everybody, and there's just a lot of clothes. But when I read your book, I felt like I was doing it all wrong because, well, the first thing that I was worried about is you said what did you say? After 50 washings, you've like ruined the piece of clothing forever. So now I've realized that
it's not ruined. It's just, that's the life of a quality garment. It's about 50 washings and 50 dryings. So if you stop the dryer, you get more washings, which matters a lot for you and your husband. I mean, because, your clothes aren't really going to change the size. I mean, your kids, I always say throw kids' clothes in the dryer. The reality is they're going to outgrow them before they wear out. So who cares?
Okay.
Even if they're beautiful things, I mean, you can pass them down. I mean, you could have 4 children and pass the same item down 4 times, and it probably still won't wear out, So, but adult clothes, and not because I don't think you should care for children's clothes. It's just, the life, 50 washings and 50 dryings, kids just don't get that kind of life out of their clothes.
And you also talk about air drying and not only how it's better for the clothes, but also for the environment and how we should air dry or even sometimes just like hang clothes outside or even skip the wash altogether and just spray your clothes with vodka, which I couldn't. I was like, did I read that correctly? All right, tell me about this trick. Am I literally going to like pick the pajamas off the floor and start like shooting vodka all over them? I think people will think I'd lost my mind.
They might, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. I mean,
That's
costumers do it. If you go to a Broadway show, I can promise you all of those costumes have been sprayed with vodka because they don't wash them or launder them between every washing. It's a great trick. It's especially a great trick for something like your pajamas. I'd probably throw those in the washer, but like your shirt that you wore to a party or that you wore to work or something, I mean, it's not really dirty. You just had it on all day. There's nothing dirty about it. Just spray it with a little vodka. Vodka is antibacterial. I spray my countertops with vodka and my cutting boards with vodka. I use vodka everywhere. It's very antibacterial. And so you can spray it on something that, just smells kind of stale or, that you want to kind of get a couple extra lives out of. I mean, your kids, like, I don't know how old your kids are, but, like their gym bags, you can spray with vodka. Mm-hmm. And what's great about vodka is when it dries, it's completely odorless and completely colorless. So it just evaporates into sort of the ether and, everything smells better, but there's no scent behind. It's a great trick.
Okay. We had a lot of, antiseptic for the pandemic in little spray bottles all over. So I guess I could toss that and put in some vodka and just, So do you drink the vodka? Like, are you a vodka drinker?
I am a vodka drinker, but my rule is if it's good enough to clean with, it's not good enough to drink. So it's cheap vodka for the laundry, good vodka for the Patric.
What's your favorite brand of vodka to drink?
Gosh, I don't know. My partner always buys them.
This is totally irrelevant to our
I know. I mean, it's probably what we probably keep on hand most of the time is Grey Goose.
Yeah. I like vanilla vodka, but maybe that doesn't have as many good cleaning properties. So I'll just save that.
Yeah, save that to drink and just get yourself some, inexpensive clear vodka to, spray everything else.
Okay. Let's talk about the lack of dry cleaning. I was thinking, oh, how great. I bet he could sell this book in like every dry cleaner and that would be such a great marketing vehicle for him. And then I was like, oh no, he's now told everybody never to go to a dry cleaner again. This is not going to be a good move for the dry cleaning community. So we shouldn't dry clean anything. I really haven't dry cleaned anything, honestly, since the pandemic started. So I'm glad to hear you say that. But I also haven't really washed most of the stuff either. That's dry clean only. So tell me when I'm supposed to put it in a little zip bag, because you said sometimes sweaters you're supposed to fold and put in a little mesh bag. And then other times you don't have to. Tell me, okay, what do we do with our sweaters?
So anything wool or silk. So anything wool or silk goes in a little mesh bag and you want to stuff it in the bag so tight that it's like a little sausage. Like I'm a big guy and my overcoat, which goes all the way to the floor because it's cold in Minnesota. I think it's 7 degrees right now. My overcoat goes into a bag that's smaller than a pillowcase. You want it really tight in the bag. And the reason for that is the reason everybody doesn't wash wool, right, is they're afraid that it's going to shrink. Like, that sweater that you have on now goes in the washer. When it comes out, it fits the dog. Well, that's felting. And felting happens when fibers rub against themselves. So when you put it in this bag so small that it can't move, it can't rub against itself and it can't felt. But the water and the soap can still go through it and it still gets it clean. The one thing about, washing your suit coat or the trousers, it's the thing that I have to get people over is, you do have to iron it. But, your sweaters, put them in a mesh bag, throw them in the washer, and they come out great. And it's funny because if you've dry cleaned them before, when you bring them out, they're going to be softer than like you ever knew they could be. It's like a revolution. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow. And when am I supposed to be balling up the aluminum foil? That was another trick.
That's great. That's great in the winter because of static. You make a ball of aluminum foil and toss it in your dryer. I never leave it out. I put it in the dryer and, I just leave it in there all the time. And it absorbs static better than any dryer sheet or anything that you've ever used. And, who doesn't have aluminum foil around? I mean, how easy is that, right?
I like to use it when I'm really desperate with the kids. My kids range in age from 6 to 13 to make little animals. Mm-hmm. So, you got to find lots of uses for the aluminum foil. And you suggested also tennis balls. That was for getting your towels nice and fluffy.
Yeah, towels are down and the reason for tennis balls is they're active. Like, wool balls are great for, like you can put essential oils on them if you want to scent your clothes like something. But tennis balls are active. They're meant to spring. So, I mean, when they're in the dryer, it sounds like, you've gone to war. But because they're so active, they actually do beat the loft back into things that you want to be fluffy. It's also great right now, like for flannel sheets.
So just to make sure I understand, I have 6 towels that I need to wash. They're mostly white-ish or white enough, white adjacent. I throw them all in the wash. I put them on warm in an express cycle, but I'm not going to buy any store-bought detergent or pods because you think those are all terrible. I'm going to get some of your soap flakes or something like that. And then I put them in the dryer with the tennis balls. And do I put it on high heat or I usually do extra long?
I always use it on warm, but my dryer senses when it's time to turn it off.
Oh, okay.
So if your dryer doesn't, for your towels, you can use warm or hot. Warm is so much better than hot. It may add 3 or 4 minutes to the dry cycle, but it's going to be so much better for the thread because your towels are cotton. They're totally fine. But the thread that sews them together is actually polyester. And that high heat is going to cause them to break down. And that's why your towels get that kind of ripple at the ends. They kind of get that. That's actually from the polyester thread starting to shrink.
Yeah, I feel like my towels get crunchy over time. I feel like they only last about a year.
Too much detergent.
That's
what's making them crunchy.
Wow.
So yeah, use amazing. Less. I mean, less is always more when it comes to whatever you use.
And what about, I'm sorry, I will ask more about your career, but I felt like this knowledge is so great. So there are these pajamas from Roberta Roller Rabbit that are so soft when you touch them. But then as soon as you wash them, the softness is gone. Maybe it takes 2 washes. What do you do about clothes like that? Is that because of the dryer or the washer or both or what? What am I doing wrong?
So they're soft and then they're not.
Yeah, they're almost like a bamboo softness, so soft.
Oh, okay, got it. I'm guessing that, you wash them and you put them in the dryer and you're using good detergent.
I'm using Tide.
It's residue from your detergent.
Okay.
If you go to something that rinses completely clean, and I'm not going to tell you have to buy my soap flakes. Go get hosiery wash, or Dreft. Something that'll rinse completely clean, because what's happening is you're getting a residue from the detergent that's coating the fabric. And so you're not actually feeling the fabric, you're feeling the detergent. I'll bet if you took them right now and just washed them in vinegar, if you just put a cup of vinegar in the water in the washing machine and nothing else, they would feel soft when you took it out because it would break that residue down.
So you think I should put a cup of vinegar in the washing machine?
Right, with nothing else. Just vinegar.
And then run it?
And then run your pajamas.
And then run just the pajamas on warm.
And it'll break that vinegar down.
And nothing bad will happen. Okay.
No, gosh, no. Vinegar
just
is great.
Plain white vinegar.
Yep, cheap white vinegar. Yeah.
Okay. And then I should go buy some Dreft and throw out the Tide. Yes?
If you're going to buy something at the grocery store, I buy Dreft. I like other things. Obviously, I love my soap flakes, but I I love the laundress. There's a few of those kind of premium detergent brands that I love, and they're really not more expensive because they're so concentrated. You use so much less. It's like when you go to the salon, you buy really expensive shampoo at the salon, but you find that the bottle lasts you 6 months. Whereas if you buy a cheaper bottle at the grocery, it's less expensive, but it lasts a month. So really, when you average it out, it's all kind of the same. So that's how I feel about premium laundry detergent.
Okay. And if I wanted to buy your soap flakes, where do I get those?
LaundryEvangelist.com, or you can buy them in my store at Mall of America if you want to brave the 7-degree temperatures.
I'm going to skip the trip to Mall of America,
right,
but I can easily go on your website.
Yeah, LaundryEvangelist.com. I formulated, it's funny, they're based on a 200-year-old recipe, but they're formulated, and the woman who makes them for me is familiar with soap all over the world and she says, I truly make the best soap flakes in the world. So I'm going to trust her because it sounds good.
Huh. All right. And then you spoke really negatively about pods, like detergent pods.
There's just way too much detergent in them. I mean, there's enough detergent in one pod to do 5 loads of laundry. And you just can't rinse it out. And if you talk to laundry repair guys, they will tell you those pods don't 100% break down. And what ends up happening is they gum up the sensors in your washing machine. So you paid a fortune for this washing machine and they're gumming up the sensors. So whatever detergent, please don't use pods. And it's hysterical. I've met people who are like, oh, I throw in 3. And I'm like, your clothes must feel like cardboard.
Well, I do sometimes. Usually we don't have pods, but this last time that was all that they had on, like, I don't know, Fresh Direct or something. And so on the label, it says if you have a big load, put in 2. So I've been putting in 2 when I do all the towels, which is probably why I'm ruining the towels.
No. Please don't do that. Please don't. Just 1. If you're going to use them up. I don't believe you should ever, toss them. Use them up, but please only use 1.
Okay.
It's more than enough.
Okay. Wait, back to the dry cleaning goods. I feel like I put them in the bag. What about air drying? I have to air dry I'm getting all my tips. I'm literally going to take everything you said and change the way I do everything. So
okay, awesome. I love it.
The air dry, do I do everything air dry that I do that's dry clean only?
Yeah, you just hang it up. Like if it's woven and it's not going to stretch out of shape, just put on a hanger and let it dry. I throw them on the closet rod on the shower rod. And if it's a sweater or something that you're worried about it stretching, just throw it across the drying rack. In a pinch, if you don't have a drying rack, you can literally throw it across the back of the chair. And that will dry. That will do it. You just don't want to hang sweaters because you get those sort of hanger ears.
Mm-hmm.
So you just throw them across the drying rack. And it really is fast because especially when you start using a cleaner detergent, when your clothes spin, they spin almost dry. So I find like the shirt I have on, when I took it out of the washer and I hung it up to dry, by the time the next load was done, the shirt was dry because they spin so dry. That detergent also holds water, so that detergent residue also holds water. So, your clothes are wetter when you use a commercial detergent.
Wow.
So it's pretty dry. It's pretty effective. It doesn't. When I tell people to air dry everything, they panic. But when you really start doing it, it doesn't take that long. And it's funny because it's really kind of easy because especially with your children's clothes that you want to hang up. Most of their stuff should just go on the dryer, but the things you want to hang up, you're not going to have to iron them at all.
Well, I don't really iron anything.
Oh, okay. Then you don't have to iron. It'll really cut back on that anyway. I love iron, believe it or not. I love it.
I feel like my mom, when I was a little girl, she would take her beautiful napkins and we would go and she would show me and I would do the little napkins and we would fold them and put them away. And now I'm like, I can't even, I don't know. I don't iron. I just don't. I'm sorry.
You don't have to.
But I feel like this is my last technical question. I feel like when I take out clothes and I air dry them, like some jeans and some t-shirts even and things, they harden in the air. And so when I go to fold them and wear them, they feel stiff.
It's also detergent. If you cut back on the detergent, that won't happen. They'll be softer. The detergent is actually, it's just the coating. So if you imagine that you washed your hands and you didn't wash all the soap off, when it dried, what it would feel like. Well, that's exactly what's happening to your clothes.
Wow. Okay.
So the trick is to get that softness, just cut back on, even whatever you're using. If you want to continue to use your detergent, fine. But you know how they say, you use a 1/4 of a cup for a full load and 1/8 of a cup for a small load. Use half of that. Use about 3 tablespoons of your detergent, and that'll be more than enough.
Oh, yeah, no. I use a lot of detergent.
Yeah. Yeah. If you cut back, I mean, it saves you money, which is great, right?
I know, but I'm always like,
And
what if it's not
they
clean?
won't feel crunchy.
Okay. All right.
And
Wow.
there's still more than enough to get your clothes clean.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. This is like life-changing.
Oh.
Wait, so tell me, it is like, cause I think about, it's something that I don't ever talk to anybody about. And yet I spend a lot of my time doing. So your book was like, it was just really helpful. And even my husband, the other day, he was like, all right, well, show me what to do. Like, do I sort them by whites and darks? And I'm like, no, just like throw everything in and throw in these pots. Yeah. Anyway, so now I've ruined all his clothes. Sorry. Okay. Well, Patric, tell me a little bit about writing this book. What was it like for you to write it? How long did that take?
Well, it's funny. Parts of it just flew, and then parts of it were harder. It took about 8 months beginning to end because, I mean, there were things I had to like research, because I didn't want to, I knew them intuitively, but I needed to know like technical terms, and I didn't remember because it's been a while since I was in college. But it was really fun, and it kind of made me fall in love with my childhood all over again, because I sort of realized, just how incredible my life is, and how wonderful these people were in my life, and how ridiculously lucky I was. I mean, my granny, if you read the book, I mean, truly the book is a love letter to her, because I loved her so much, and my mother. And I had this next door neighbor who was just this fascinating woman, and she owned a mangle. And I thought if you were really sophisticated, you had a mangle. So it was a goal of mine to have one when I grew up. And it just reminded me, like, how great sort of everything was. I mean, my mom is an incredible cook. The recipes in the back, I had to call her for all of them because they were things that I remembered. And a few of them I had continued to make, and so it was fun. It was really fun to write the book. And it was really fun to just get to remember all of these things. I mean, I think it's funny. I think we all have memories of like our, like our childhood or, whatever. And you're making memories for your children. And, they do have them. So, it's great to have these memories. So it was so much fun to write the book. I'm like ready to write another one just because it was so fun. I don't know what it's going to be. Well, I do actually know what it's going to be about, but we'll get through the first one first.
Can I make a suggestion? Although this isn't really in your wheelhouse, given that you are like Mr. Textile and know everything from like, ancient Chinese rituals to, I know this is but in the interest of helping everybody through their daily life, I think you should do another one on doing the dishes. Maybe there's like, maybe there's something where you can make that easier, what you should hand wash, what soaps. I don't know if it's a whole book, but maybe even an essay on it or something.
Okay, well, it's really funny because my second book is going to be about how to clean your house.
Is it really?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
That's really what it is.
Well,
it's how to kind of green up that process. Because, I always say it that, my shtick is kind of eco luxury. Like, I think you should be able to live this really luxurious life, like with cashmere sweaters and, cloth napkins, but it still can be eco-friendly, So yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the perfect thing you should do. I'm excited about that. I really love Blue Land cleaning supplies. Have you tried those?
Oh, I haven't.
Oh my God. It's amazing because they give you just the pods and then 3 glass containers. One is bath and window. They used to be a sponsor of mine, but I use it all the time. So I'm not saying this because they're a sponsor, but anyway, there's one for multi-surface. So I do that like on the kitchen table and anywhere in the kitchen, honestly. And then there's one for bath and window. And then they have hand soap. And you just take the little pod that's like the size of a quarter and you put it in the glass container with warm water and shake it up. And it lasts for, I don't know, a couple weeks each time. So you never have to throw the plastic away. And all you have to do for storage is keep more of these little pods on hand.
Wow, I'm totally going to look into it. I've not tried them.
And they actually have
check that out.
They have a washing machine detergent pod. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it didn't work very well in the laundry. So I stopped using those. But I love the multi-surface and the kids love to use it too. And they love to make it, it's like a concoction,
Sure.
So, and they're all different colors. So one is yellow and then the window one is blue. And anyway.
I'm gonna check them out.
Yeah, Blue Land Cleaning.
All right.
They even have a gift set. Okay, I'll stop.
All right.
Actually, what you should do is partner with Blue Land Cleaning. I'm going to find whoever it was who put me in touch with him, because you should have a gift set with your book and their products.
Oh, yeah. Because everybody should have the book.
Everybody should have the book. I agree.
And then they can make, Grady Giles sweet potato balls on top of everything else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, maybe. Do you have any advice for aspiring authors?
Yes. My best advice, it's really funny because, I wanted to write this book and I we got the first part of it down, and then it hit a stalemate. And I was talking to a friend of mine who happens to be an author, and he's like, oh, well, I need to connect you with somebody. So my best advice for any aspiring author is tell everybody that that's what you want to do, because you never know when somebody's like, oh, I know somebody who, can connect you with an agent or connect you with, whatever it is you need, because lots of people have great ideas, but if you can't get it to the person that can help you get it published, and then beyond that, my other piece of advice, which is something that I've mentioned already, is, look at your past. I mean, even if you don't think you have great stories, you have great stories. You just have to remember that.
Very true.
Because everybody has interesting stories. You just have to, go in your mind and pull them out. And, if there's something that you love as much as laundry, that can be your thing. So, who knew? Who knew a book about laundry, right?
It's fantastic. To be honest with you, it was supposed to come out a lot earlier, and then you pushed back the pub date, right? And I was so sad about that, because I was like, I need this book now. It was like when we were all home all day, every day. And I was like, oh no, I didn't want this one pushed. But anyway, I'm sure you didn't either.
I agree. I didn't either. But you know what? It's funny. It's going to come out at just the right time. Yes. Everything comes at just the right moment, and it's going to. So, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a super fun book. I'm hoping, laundry's kind of picked up kind of in the world. More people are talking about laundry. So it really probably is a better time. Drew Barrymore loves laundry.
Oh, well, there you go.
And she talks about it all the time. I mean, it's just kind of become a thing. So it's fun. But I was disappointed. I was very disappointed that it was pushed back, because, when it comes out, it will be about just a little over 3 years from conception, which feels like a long time. And I mean, when I've talked to other people, they're like, yeah, that's a little longer than most books, but it's coming out at just the right time, just in time for spring cleaning, when you change over your closet.
Yes. Everything happens as it should be.
Exactly.
So there you go. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for all of the advice in your book and letting me pick your brain about some of my clothing issues here. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for the cleaning book, for the house cleaning book. But laundry is really like the bane of my existence. So I'm so glad to get some good tips, which will make my family feel better, which is great.
Yeah. Can I give you 2 final tips?
Yes.
Okay. You should hang a disco ball in your laundry room, because it's always more fun if there's a disco ball.
We have a disco ball in our playroom, but I can move it.
Awesome. You get a second. You can always have more disco balls. Disco balls are great. I love them. The second one, though, is something that I tell everybody about laundry. When I was a kid, like long before like you were born, everybody, like if you watch like sitcoms or whatever, people, primarily women, would complain about having to make dinner, because it was like this chore, like, oh, I have to make dinner. And it's this huge chore. And now, we have how many different celebrity chefs, and we have networks devoted to cooking, and cookbooks are a huge category, as you would know. And it's the exact same process. Julia Childs put the chicken in the oven the exact same way Ina Garten puts the chicken in the oven. And the only difference is somebody decided that cooking wasn't a chore, that it was a hobby. So if you decide that laundry is a hobby and it's not a chore, then all of a sudden it's fun.
I love that.
Thanks.
I love that. No, that's so great. Yeah. And even something you can get better at, right? That you can't, it's not just something you're doing.
Yeah. And, when you start tackling the stains, you get this real sense of satisfaction. When the ketchup comes out of, the school uniform or whatever, you really get this sense of satisfaction about it.
Well, maybe we have the Laundry TV channel coming then.
No.
Maybe that's.
You never know.
You never know. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for all your time today.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And thanks for loving the book. Because, I love it. I'm just glad other people do too.
I got so much out of it.
Oh,
super
good.
super useful. Yep.
I'm so glad. And make that cake. It is delicious.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get some sour cream
Okay.
when I get my draft.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.